What is up, guys, and welcome to the first of many F1 2017 preview gameplay videos. Today we're going to be kicking things off with career mode. Basically, you guys are going to get an introduction to the game, see what it's like to start off right from the start of your career mode, and hopefully we can learn a lot and have a lot of fun. With that said, if you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, to see plenty more F1 2017 videos that'll be coming in the future. I think I'm also going to host a giveaway in this video as well, so if you want to win a free copy of the game, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and I'll pick a winner from the comment section down below, and you guys will get a code of F1 2017 on the platform of your choice. So here we are in career mode. You can see here, this is the just the driver creation screen. You can see all the helmets. These here at the bottom are the competition winners who basically got to design their own helmet and it made it into the game. I'm unfortunately not going to pick one of those. We're going to go for something different. Unfortunately, it looks like so far my career mode helmet from 2016 is not in the game, so I decided to go for something that was a little bit gold, and you can customize those helmets, of course, as well. These are all the driver numbers. I think I'll be going with number 10, like I did for my 2016 career mode. I want to keep as much continuity going as what I can. I've also gone for a female driver, just to show you guys what that looks like, because there are now female avatars in the game, and it's great to see that they're actually in this year. Now we're just going through all the just the basic stuff, really. Driver name, abbreviation, all that kind of thing. But if you want to see the gameplay, the actual like driving around of the race, qualifying, I'm going to leave various timestamps to all the different points in the video. But as you can see here, this is the team selection. You can see all the performance statistics of all the cars. We're going to go with Force India today, and we're going to drive alongside Esteban Ocon. Here you can see this is how you can structure your weekend. You can decide race length, short or long qualifying, practice length as well, formation lap, and then down at the bottom you have your AI difficulty as well. So it's all set up there pretty easy for you. The difficulty now has a slider as well to accommodate people of varying skill levels, so the AI should be pretty close level to whatever skill set you are offering to the game. Now, without further ado, let's get into this career mode and see what it's all about.
Yes, and I respect that, but my client has a championship to contest. So if you want our participation, I'm afraid the concessions are mandatory. Yes, that's fine. Get back to me when you can. Goodbye. No one ever just signs the contract. Anyway, thanks for coming by on such short notice. I just needed to cover a couple of quick things with you before you race. Firstly, as requested, there's a copy of your contract. It's a rolling deal. However, the team reserves right of termination if you fail to meet performance standards. You're second driver for now, but work hard, hit your targets, and I'll be able to sweeten the deal. I'm also looking to get you into some invitational events throughout the season. The experience and exposure from these will be great for your image. Plus, you'll get to drive some nice historic cars. Now then, go get ready for the next session, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Emma. In case you're wondering, she is our agent. She's going to be handling all the contractual stuff on the kind of legal and business side of things in our career mode. So we've got a new contract. Let's just read through this very quickly. Dear Ben, welcome to Sahara Force India Formula 1 team. We're delighted to have you on board and looking forward to working closely with you. I didn't leave that open long enough, but you get the general idea. We're the second team driver. Basically, we got to do as well as we can, and if we put in some really good results, we'll get possibly an offer for an equal driver status, or maybe even later on in the career mode, be the first team driver and decide what direction to take the car in terms of research and development, and get bigger bonuses for that. So you have a lot of screens, and I'd imagine for people who haven't played the F1 games, this is going to be very daunting. We've got vehicle management this year. This side is the power unit side, so the engine. You're going to have to, manage your different components within your engine over the course of the season. If you drive badly or over rev your engine, you're going to have to be swapping out parts quite regularly and that goes same too with the gearbox. And we have lots of different things to analyze over the course of the season, and I'll keep you guys up to date and posted over the course of future career mode episodes, but there's just too much to get into right now, but it's time for practice.
Welcome to our viewers from around the globe. You join us just as today's practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is about to start. Now then, Anthony Davidson, we've had some really strategic races over the past couple of years, thanks to the current 3-tyre compound system, and of course the groundwork for all those strategies comes from the free practice sessions like this one. So what do you think of the current tyre regulations?
Well, they've created some, I wouldn't say exciting necessarily, but certainly interesting races. There have been a lot more questions around, like how long can someone stay out on this set, or will they have the pace to catch another car if they suddenly bolted on a set of ultra softs, things like that. When everything comes together, we end up with multiple cars nose to tail on different tyres, all fighting for track position. So on the whole, it's definitely been a positive step, I feel, for the sport.
This year will mark the Russian Grand Prix's 4th year in Sochi. Valtteri Bottas is one to watch this year after replacing the reigning drivers' champion.
So here we are then for our first practice session as a Formula 1 driver. You would have noticed there just then that there's now track commentary which can be heard within the team garages now, which is a really nice feature that has been added to F1 2017. Just adds that extra little bit of polish to the franchise. But here we go for our very first laps on the game. This is my first laps of the day at the capture event, so just bear in mind that my driving is not going to be at its optimal peak. It's a brand new game for me, brand new handling model, and as well I think the biggest difference for me is having to learn to drive on a new wheel. I use the Thrustmaster TX wheel with the F1 rim add-on, and now I'm using a Logitech G29, and the whole settings, the force feedback, and just everything was so much different. And you might notice over the course of this video that things look very hard for me, and that's simply because I'm just on the new wheel, which is going to take a lot of time for me to develop and get better at, so just bear that in mind when watching this gameplay. But first lap underway, and
that lap was no good. We need you to improve on that.
And unfortunately for me, my lap just wasn't up to scratch. I wasn't, pushing by any means. I was running wide, making mistakes here and there, and also the fuel saving techniques weren't completely up to scratch either. It seems like the difficulty for me seems to be pretty tough, even though it is at 100%. I think the difficulty slider goes to like 110%, I believe, maybe even higher. But at the end of that session, the end of that practice program, we weren't able to beat the targets. I just was simply too slow for that. So it looks like at this stage I might be not 100% ready to tackle some of these practice programs. I did find in pre-alpha testing that some of these practice programs were very tough to beat, especially that fuel-saving one. Australia or Albert Park has been a very tough track to meet targets and expectations set by the team, and even beating the AI is very tough around here. So it's definitely not going to be a walk in the park, that's for sure, when it comes to getting resource points. But a very nice moment there where we lost the back end on the curbing. You definitely can't ride the curbing, so if you want to be fast, you want to be quick, stay away from the curbs and you should be fine. But this is now a race strategy practice program. This takes into consideration all the factors that you've learned from just learning the track, going fast, fuel saving, and just overall race pace and consistency, and that takes it all into consideration, and it gives you a race strategy at the end of the weekend for the race. So it's very important that you perform well in all of the practice programs, especially this one. But here we go into the pits now, and you now have to slow down and press the pit limiter button to slow down for the pit lane. Unfortunately, because it was a new wheel for me, I didn't know what the pit lane button was, and that made things very interesting.
You got my message. Perfect. Welcome to home away from home. We get more real-time data from the factory now than ever before, and it all comes through here. So I have to spend more time checking over the reports and less time hunting you down in the hospitality suite. To that end, sorry, just a sec. Yeah, Chris, is this important? I'm in the middle of something. Okay. Right. Well, that makes no sense. Have Sarah reset the simulation and run it again. Okay. Sorry about that. As I was saying, we've set up a desk for you at the front here. You can get onto the network from your laptop, so make sure to check the R&D screen regularly. And let us know how you want to use the data that we've collected over the weekend and through the practice programs. Also, bear in mind that the news from the factory won't always be good. Sometimes tests fail, like you've seen just now. And when that happens, we have to divert additional resources to fix it. C'est la vie, I'm afraid.
So there we go. That is an introduction to our engineer, our research and development guy, should I say, rather. And that whole team engineer environment looks really, really cool. I hope we see more of that over the course of this career mode series. Off in the distance, you can hear the support categories going around. I think it was the Porsches. Again, like the attention to detail in terms of just building the atmosphere around a Grand Prix weekend is incredible. Here's the research and development screen. You can see on the right hand side there all the different performances of the teams and where they stand currently with their upgrades. This is the research and development tree, and there's something like well over 100 upgrades you can do to improve the performance of the car. And if you look at Scuderia Ferrari, who are actually leading the performance index right now, they're only like 40% there in terms of maximum potential. So even those guys have a lot of work to do to get to where they need to be. So in terms of the research and development tree, there's different aspects. There's the chassis, aerodynamics, power unit, and engine performance. And then at the top of the research and development tree, we have durability. So lots of different aspects to work on. For us, it's just down to, you know, finding out what our weaknesses are and trying to build upon those. It's really customizable to you. There's so many different options you can go in. And within each department, shall we say, there are different competencies you can work on, like in the far left there. By spending money there, you can increase the chances of having a successful upgrade being applied to the car without it overall failing you. So yeah, I've also mentioned this in previous videos as well, but the different size boxes there, the hexagons are minor upgrades, and then the squares are, decent size upgrades, and then the big rectangle ones at the edge of the screen, those are ultimate upgrades, and those are going to be the ones that really give you a big performance boost, but they obviously cost the most money. It's going to take the longest to put on, but it's going to give you the biggest boost. So I'm just going through now and just applying some upgrades to my car. At the moment in the Force India, I feel like probably aero and chassis is probably the areas to work on for this car. Depending on what you want to unlock in terms of your own career mode car, that's going to be up to you. But for my McLaren career mode, we're going to be going straight to the power unit and making sure that we are as quick as we possibly can be in a straight line. So in terms of the other menus, you can see like your history of upgrades, your weekend tire allocation. This screen here is a reputation based on how the other teams feel about you, and that'll change based on how you perform on and off the track and how you interact with other drivers on the track as well. So don't go crashing into Ferraris if you want to ultimately drive for Ferrari next season. I think that pretty much goes without saying. But yeah, that's everything. It's time to speak to Emma to find out who our first rival is going to be.
Hey, looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay?
I am going to guess it'll be my teammate. It normally starts off in a career mode as your teammate. He's the first guy you want to beat. So it is Esteban Ocon in the end. So we have, I don't know, a few races to try and topple him if we can. If we beat him, then that goes a long way to cementing us as an equal driver within the team, which is exactly where we want to be. And ultimately, we'll be moved on to another rival based on where our championship position is. But now, it's time for qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly.
Off we go then for our first qualifying session on F1 2017. This is going to be an interesting one in the Force India around Australia, a track that is typically very tough to perform well against the AI. We're also doing it without a setup. I don't think I've mentioned that yet, but I'm just running with a stock setup, just seeing what it's like, how hard the difficulty level will be, because a lot of you guys, especially early on, and probably myself included, will be running a stock setup for the first few days of F1 2017. Something I didn't do on F1 2016 for months and months was working on setups, and that's something I want to do this year, and just unlocking what the best setups are and trying to find or extract extra performance that way. But in this qualifying session, unfortunately, I went ahead and did a full session, but then I lost my progress because I had to quit and go do something else, so I was pretty strapped for time. And so for this second attempt, I only did the one lap because I only have 3 hours to record F1 2017 content, so I had to be mindful of that and move quite quickly through a lot of these gameplay sessions. So in the end, we ended up in 16th place. Not too bad. I mean, given we only did the one lap, I think if I would have fully committed to that session, I would have hopefully been challenging for a spot inside the top 10, maybe just fringe top 10 position, but that might have required a setup as well. But yeah, 16th place. We've got a lot of overtaking in the race, so hopefully it should be pretty darn exciting. It's time for our first race of career mode.
Today's race, of course, not simply the start of a new season, but the start of a new kind of Formula One. Anthony Davidson, great to have you with us once again. This is a big moment for the sport. Big changes to the technical regulations. The potential, perhaps, to give us the biggest shake-up since 2014. Very different cars visually and, fingers crossed, much faster as well.
Good thing then that combined these teams put in just a shade over 13,000 kilometres on the clock during testing. The cornering speed of these new machines is absolutely unbelievable. How many lap records are still held by Michael Schumacher from 2004? Well, on the right day, on the right tyres, we might just be threatening them this year. Wider tyres, wider cars, more downforce. I have to say they look great, and the qualifying spectacle is undebatable. Now the big question remains, can they follow? Can they race? Or have these new rules gone too far?
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
Okay then, so here we are for our first race of this career mode. And as always with the race strategy, in a 25% race, I think it's almost always going to be a one-stop Grand Prix. But in saying that, you can always opt to go for a two-stop, although it's not going to be faster. The option is always there, and we can also change the fuel load, which I didn't really think about touching. I just wanted to get a general feel and a general gauge as to what the tyre wear was going to be like, how the tyres would behave over the course of a Grand Prix, and also the fuel loads, whether the amount of fuel that we got given as standard by the team would be enough for us to push long enough without us having to save too much fuel. But here we go, ready for the start of our very first race. We've got a lot to do, starting from 16th place, so the aim for today would be ultimately just to get some points, so let's hope we can do it. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for that encouragement as we head through the first lap now. Up the inside of one of the Toro Rossos, I believe that is Daniel Kvyat. He comes back at me though up the inside of turn 4 and grabs that spot back. So it's great to see the AI are indeed opting to be fairly aggressive with me, even when we're not on the hardest of difficulties at the moment. We're still pretty high though, 100%. We can only increase by another 10% or so. But yeah, it's been a clean start. We've survived the first few corners, and now we're just looking to build on the start that we've made at the moment. In terms of corner cutting rules, those are going to be on just regular corner cutting. It's not strict, so if you do see a few corners being shaved more than what they should be, I apologize. Like, once again, I'm not 100% accurate with this wheel, so I accounted for that by turning off the corner cutting rules. But up the inside we go on the Toro Rosso drive, a bit of contact up the inside, but we both managed to survive, and Danny actually holds onto his position for the moment. It looks like I'm struggling through the final corner. Whenever it comes to a new F1 game, I don't know what it is. I'm always terrible through the final corner at Australia. It always takes me a lot of time to get used to that corner for some reason. Even though I know this place like the back of my hand, I've even walked the track myself personally in real life. I don't know, it's a bit weird. That's the only corner I really struggle with on a new F1 game, and I really don't know why. But either way, we've moved our way up into 15th place now. We're just 5 spots away from a golden spot inside the top 10, and that'll mean we get a few World Championship points. Next up on our list will be Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. Does he have brake issues? I know they have lots in the real life F1 series. Will that follow through to career mode? It might possibly do. We'll have to wait and see though. We went for a dive though into the 3rd sector. Kevin left the space, but nothing really amounted to that. So good to see that the AI, as always, do have good spatial awareness. We've taken that final corner absolutely dreadfully, and that puts us under pressure from Daniel Kvyat now as we head on to lap number 3. DRS has now been enabled, so that means the cars behind me can now open their rear wing, and as a result it means that they have greater top speed, and it promotes overtaking on the straights. But yeah, we managed to weather the storm from Daniel Kvyat. Wasn't really close to us. Speaking of being close, that is a millimetre close to Kevin Magnussen. He gives us a squeeze through turn 4 as well for our troubles, and he holds on to position number 14. This is only a preview build of F1 2017, yet the AI are amazing. They're squeezing me out, they're going for overtakes. It's awesome. It is really good to see that the AI are really no slouches anymore. As we got the inside of Kevin, leaves the space, but he holds on as we go through the middle sector. This is a really good battle, it must be said. We're going to chuck it up into rich revs, try and overtake him around the outside. The indicator has gone red as we go very close to his side pod. He actually squeezes into the wall, but we hold on and move into 14th place. That was an incredible exchange for a position that's going to give us no points. But as is often the case, the hardest racing always occurs in the midfield, and as soon as you get out of that and get towards the front of the field, the racing becomes a little bit more clean, a little bit more respectful. So hopefully we can look forward to some of that as we progress our way through this Grand Prix. Lap 6 now. A few people have decided to pull into the pits. We now find ourselves inside the top 10, but we're going to be making our own pit stop at the end of this one, fitting on the super soft tyres, which Jolyon Palmer is on right now in front of us. Max Verstappen is out of the Grand Prix. Looks like he has stopped just up ahead there on the right hand side. So it looks like the AI still get affected by reliability problems, engine failures, any other kind of failures. So it's good to see that that is a factor. We may see a safety car at some point, but given how far away he was from the racetrack, I think the marshals should be able to recover that car without stopping the race. Pit stop time, and that was not a good exit from me there. I don't know whether I was held there because other cars were in the fast lane, or whether I just mistimed the releasing of the clutch with the manual pit stop there. But we rejoin on the track now, have to disengage the pit limiter, which I still don't know what the button was. So that was very, very costly for myself, having to just spam all the different buttons on the wheel. Cost me multiple seconds. So if you're racing on a new wheel, make sure you find out the button configuration before you get going, because that could really cost you in the Grand Prix. But lap 8 now. Looks like we're getting settled into this race now with a race-long battle with Daniel Kvyat. He just seems to be following us the whole race. We just can't shake him. And here he goes, round the outside into turn 1. Will he make the move stick though? Yes, he does. I had to brake slightly earlier because the radius of the corner was a lot tighter for me, and Kvyat makes the most of that and gets himself into 14th place. So the AI, they don't take prisoners this year. They are looking very, very good from what I've raced so far, which is absolutely awesome to see. Lap 9, still trying to chase Kvyat. At this point, I've realised that fuel is becoming an issue as well, so we're having to recover a bit of that to just make sure we finish, really. That was a big problem for me in online races, especially YouTuber Championship, where I got to the end of races with no fuel left, so I don't want to run out in this one. But in terms of our engine and power unit durability, it looks like we're burning through that quite quickly. The worst component at the moment is the ICE at about 18%. So even through one race, we are really getting through the power unit components, which is not good. And we're driving for a Mercedes-powered team. Can you imagine how bad it's going to be for Honda? We're going to need to change a whole manner of different parts if we're sitting in that orange car right behind us in career mode, and I keep driving the way I am. Like I said, it gets affected by how much you run the car in rich, I believe, how aggressive you are on downshifts, how you use curbs, a whole manner of different things that Lee Mather has talked about. Maybe I'll need to have another chat to him and see if I can unlock some secrets as to how to make my engines last longer. But Felipe Massa has not done that as he pulls off to the right-hand side. He's out of the Grand Prix for some kind of failure. And again, there is no occurrence of the safety car or virtual safety car today as we head on to the final lap. It looks like we won't be scoring any points today. It's going to be 14th place unless we can chase down Daniel Kvyat for a spot inside the top 13. Which, yeah, is not going to be the ideal way to start a career mode. From what I've seen so far, it's going to be very tough. But I like that. I like that it's a struggle. It's a real grind. And it's going to take a lot of time and effort to not only adapt to the handling model, to adapt to the way that the setups work, making sure that you upgrade the car and spend your resource points effectively. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of effort. It's like a almost RPG for racing games. Getting your team from the bottom to the top, depending on what kind of team you're with. I feel like it's going to be a real struggle when you start career mode, especially at the start of Australia. It's a very tough track. I've been racing for teams in career mode that have been dominating, like the Mercedes, and you know, even the Manor when I fully upgraded that. So it's good to go back to a stage where now we have to build up from the bottom again. That's what I'm really relishing when it comes to this brand new game, and I can't wait to get this started when I can fully do my career mode in a week or two's time whenever the game comes out. But there we go, checkered flag, 14th place.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So there we go, guys. That has been the first episode of F1 2017 career mode. This is only the preview build, so we won't be continuing on much longer than this. This is only a first glimpse at the game. My official career mode will be coming out whenever I get a review code or whenever I get a retail copy of the game. So that'll be happening a little closer to the release date. But there we go. Esteban Ocon, my teammate, manages to snag a point there after starting 14th on the grid. So at least the potential is there in the Force India to get in the points. I'm not so sure, though, about the McLaren Honda. It's going to be a real struggle, like I was mentioning earlier. So we really need to rack on the upgrades and rack them on quickly. But that's been this episode for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 gameplay. I'll have another video out later today. At least one more. It'll be an Ayrton Senna gameplay around Spa in his 1991 McLaren MP4-6. And there might potentially be another one, but there'll be more videos coming out over the next few days as well, so don't worry about that. But in terms of this career mode, you can see the different directions where we're going in terms of our reputation level within the various teams. And that is the end of the first episode. In the next one, we'll be exploring the invitational events. We'll get introduced to Jonathan, who is going to be the owner of a lot of the classic cars that you'll see that you can drive over the course of your career mode. So stay tuned for that. That should hopefully be out tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned to see all those F1 2017 gameplays. And as well too, make sure you enter the giveaway by liking this video, subscribing, and leaving a comment. And like I said, I'll be picking a winner from one of the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next video, I'll see you next time.